In this video, I'll be going through the 48 laws of power, and today I'm covering law number 37, 38, and 39. Law number 37 says, create a compelling spectacle. As humans, we are more likely to remember what we see compared to what we hear. If you want to be remembered and leave a lasting impression, then you need to communicate in a way which is as visual as possible. Likewise, if you want to convince people of a particular thing and be more persuasive, don't just use words. Words are easily forgotten, but show people something tangible. The truth is, people's attention spans are becoming shorter and shorter. And if you want to retain attention, interest, and curiosity, then you need to create a compelling spectacle. Attention spans have gotten so low that I have started to see something which I thought I would never see. Have you ever seen those videos where half of the screen is of someone explaining something and the other half of the screen is of a random video game? It's ridiculous. I cannot believe that people are so easily distracted that they require gameplay footage to keep them engaged. But unfortunately, these are the times we live in. This doesn't just apply for videos, it applies for life in general. People's attention spans are just getting shorter. One of the ways that this law works is when you're trying to make people believe in what you are saying. It's not enough to think people are simply going to trust your words. You need to go further. You need to create a compelling spectacle. For example, there is no real reason why these online gurus flex their Lamborghinis and private jets in their videos, but they know that people will only believe them if they can see proof. I could sit here right now and tell you the exact same thing these gurus tell you, but because I'm just a guy in my room making a video, you think to yourself, why should we believe you? But if you saw me making this video in a mansion with a pet tiger in the background and a Rolex on my wrist, then you'd be much more likely to believe that what I'm saying is true. Not too long ago, I fell victim to this law. I have recently moved cities, and when I moved, my top priority was finding a place to get my hair cut to a high standard. After searching, I narrowed it down to two options. Option one was a very flashy barber. It had individual flat screens for each customer. The interior design was crisp. Even the leather on the seats was premium. It was a compelling spectacle. Option 2 was not so compelling. It lacked luxury, no flat screen TVs for the customers. All you could do was sit there and keep yourself occupied with your own thoughts. No premium leather, the seats were actually very worn out. So I had a decision to make. Posh, luxury barber, or regular, old school barber. Unfortunately, I went to the posh, luxury barber, and my haircut was shambolic. I didn't leave the house. When my hair had finally grown back, I tried the old school barber, which was not very high tech, and as soon as the razor touched my head, I knew the trim was going to be elite. It was of an infinitely higher caliber to my previous trim. When we have no other information to go by, the only information we can use is the information from our eyes. But just because something looks good doesn't mean it's good. Get into the habit of looking beyond the surface and finding out if something is really as good as it looks, or whether it's merely an illusion, a facade, a masquerade, if you will. Law number 38 says, think as you like, but behave like others. The one thing that is guaranteed to increase your influence is how relatable you are. If people find you relatable and down to earth, then they are more likely to listen to you and connect with you. If, however, you appear to live in your own world, people will see you as being in your own bubble and you will have very little influence. You don't want to be too similar to the point where you lose your uniqueness and your identity. But at the same time, you want to avoid being so different that you are completely and utterly unrelatable. This law is about finding the sweet spot. This is crucial for the times we are currently living in. We are living in a time where people are becoming increasingly sensitive. If you have an opinion that might hurt someone, you have to be meticulous about the words you use and about what you say. Personally, I think things have gone too far and out of hand, but unfortunately, it's one of those things. For example, I personally do not believe that people should be encouraged to identify as whatever gender they want to, depending on how they feel. People should be encouraged to accept and embrace the gender which they were born with. If you are a woman, strive to be the best woman that you can be. And if you are a man, strive to be the best man that you can be. There may be a few people where this is not as clear cut, but for most people, it's very clear what gender they are. Very straightforward, very simple, and no room for maneuver. Society, on the other hand, is telling us something completely different. People can decide what gender they would like to be. People can decide their own pronouns, and gender-neutral toilets are becoming very, very common. Things are getting out of hand. These beliefs, which I personally hold on this issue, are the very opposite to what society is telling us. The complete opposite. And there are many places where if I said what I think out loud, I could face severe disciplinary action. Outside of making these videos, I work as a research scientist at a lab which is particular about things such as equality, diversity, and inclusion. So I could never say these things at work. You see how I'm putting my job on the line to break down these laws for you. Do you think I go around telling people my true beliefs on this? No. Do you think I openly disagree when these things are being encouraged? No. Do you think I let people know that I think this is foolishness? Of course not. I play along. I have to play along. Unfortunately, whilst I'm still dependent on my job to survive, I have no choice. It's not being a coward. It's simply the situation I am in for now. I think as I like, but I behave like others. This law is very important in situations where your true beliefs are not in line with the rules and regulations of a group or an organization that you are dependent on. It's unfortunate because ideally, everyone should be able to express their true thoughts and feelings without having to fear major consequences. But to be able to do that, you have to be completely free and completely independent. This is something which everyone should be striving for anyway. But until and unless you get to that point, this is one of those things that you will simply have to do. By the way, the first step to becoming completely free and independent is to develop habits of discipline and consistency. I have written an ebook which gives you practical steps on how you can do this. I have used the tools myself and they have helped me massively. The link for the book is in the description and I'm giving away the first chapter for free. Law number 39 says, stir up waters to catch fish. The easiest people to influence and manipulate are those who respond purely out of emotion. As we humans become more and more emotional, we lose all sense of reason and rationality. The good news is people are usually in control of their emotions. But if you ever need someone to drop their guard for whatever reason, you can achieve this easily by stirring the waters. This means intentionally saying or doing things to get people emotional. Once you have done this, you can exploit their poor judgment and get them to do whatever you want. This law can be devastating. If you are not careful, you could be a victim. To avoid this, learn to remain still when your emotions are high and only act once they have subsided. There are certain people who have mastered this law. These are people who enjoy seeing other people disagree. These people are genuinely entertained by seeing people argue. I'm sure we all know someone like this. They have an insatiable appetite for conflict. These kinds of people know just the right thing to say to turn a perfectly harmless situation into a full-blown fight. The last time I saw this happen, there were a group of guys having a debate about who was better, Ronaldo or Messi. These debates can literally go on for hours and people can get quite emotional and things can escalate. In the corner of the room, there were a group of people who were not saying a lot, but were clearly enjoying seeing the guys becoming more and more emotional. As the debate continued, there would be times when it would be just about to end. And then one of the bystanders would say, "Are you going to take that? That was so disrespectful." At this point, one of the guys would react and things would start getting heated again. After some time, things would calm down, people would be ready to move on. And then once again, one of the bystanders would say, "That one there was a violation. Personally, I wouldn't have it." And this would go on and on for nearly an hour. I've also seen this happen in the board game Monopoly. A prime example, is when two people are about to make a deal which will be only good for both of them, but bad for one other person. Really bad. I've seen this other person, who knows that they might lose, sabotage the deal just by stirring the waters. They'll say things such as, "He's taking you for a fool with an offer like that," or "That offer is an insult to your intelligence." Then one of the two people were on the verge of making the deal, back out of the deal, not knowing that they have just been played by someone using law number 39 and stirring up the waters. The best defense against this law is to be very self-aware of the motivation behind your actions. Always ask yourself, is this actually the best thing to do for me right now? Or am I doing this because my ego has been bruised? Am I acting out of reason or acting out of emotion? The more you get used to doing this, the more you'll become immune to people's attempts to stir the waters and catch you as their fish. That is law number 37, 38, and 39 from the 48 Laws of Power. Join me next week for the next 3 laws. If you enjoyed this video, I'm certain that you will enjoy the other videos which I've made on the 48 Laws of Power. You will find them in this playlist. See you in the next video. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that you can be notified every time I release a new video.